also from watching those demonstrations there, right? Learn from it, right? Okay, how they move their hands at the same times, how they actually construct those kind of line and render using those kind of sketch line techniques, okay, shadings kind of techniques at the same time there, right? Okay. I think they don't basically send it over any kind of only they Mr. Fenyu actually had just told me about the Alithia, okay, transfer students only, but nothing about uh, the the two students, okay, who actually joined the classes. Okay, we have record the sessions over here. Anyone want to share screen there, guys? Anyone want to share the screen? Wenshin, you want to share your screen directly so we can see IT work, or I do not have directly? Thank you. Basically, right now, I do not try to develop the basic structures there, the shapes directly of these subject matters over here. All right, this is also one of the way for you guys to figure it out, okay, how the basic structures are going to be look like before you're going to render them up directly. Other than you just draw the whole thing as I actually have shown you guys that before, okay. But if you check look how actually she moved her hand basically, right, a bit kind of fast and quick there, okay. And of course, okay, for the beginners, sometimes, okay, you feel a bit kind of like very quite difficult for you to move like that, okay. But if you check look closer, okay, she repeat a few number kind of line there, okay, in the same directions there, okay, in order to develop kind of confirmation on the structure that she want to draw. Some people just draw one single line like a pro there, okay? And obviously they cannot get it right. So why don't you repeat the line consistently based on the same directions there before you confirm them and control the pressure in the same time there, right? Okay, for your information there, guys, okay, when I actually start using Photoshop to draw there, okay, I never change my setting there, okay. That's basically the thing here right now. Noro there, right? Instead of you using 25% okay, of those brushes size, okay, can you actually use around 10, 15 there, okay? And of course, okay, when you're setting your files, okay, how big is your resolution is? 150 or 300 dpi there, okay, for the resolutions. So I'm using 150 dpi. Okay, I'm using 150 dpi there, right? And one more thing, okay, when you start to render too much on the details, especially on the tone, etc., okay, it's hard for you to improvise and modify basically your kind of drawings there, right? Okay, that's why we start with the very soft kind of shadings there, right? Okay, right. Start with the very soft kind of shadings there, okay, all the time there, okay, and leave the core shadows later on when you start to develop the whole structures right there. Right? Make the half tone there first, okay? And then you can render the core shadows later on to add some of the details there. I will show you guys how it works later on, okay? But you can see actually how your friend works right now there. And remember, when you draw animal or cat's kind of eyes, make sure it doesn't look like a human there, right? Okay. I saw some of the students, okay, they draw cats or animals look like a human kind of eyes there, okay. Cat's eye has a different kind of iris and pupil kind of shapes there, okay. Cartoon, yes, there, okay. I think we can actually assume that we need to get the anthropomorphism kind of what we call that feeling there, okay, and ideas, okay, to develop those kind of characters there. If you use 150 dpi resolutions, okay, in A4 size paper, okay, normally I'm going to start with the 10 points of size or 9 sometimes, okay, to develop my drawings there. But if you use 200 dpi, so the resolutions is going to be higher there, okay. So that means the size of your brush is a little bit more bigger there, okay, around 20%, 25%, depending there, okay, how actually you're going to get the comfortable with those kind of what we call that size when you move your drawing kind of strokes there. Use the flows of the structures, okay, like the fur line there, okay, they actually have the directions that you saw from your pictures, okay, and follows them when you draw those strokes there, right, okay. Don't simply draw some things that out from the flows that you saw, okay, from your strokes, from those reference there, okay. A lot of people, they assume them because they actually look into those pictures as a pictures, that not as an element of design, okay? The line works there, okay? You must be able to adapt all those kind of reference that you saw in front of you, your subject matters, is a part of the line works there, right? The element of design. Because artists actually work with the element of design, okay? We actually elaborate that kind of ideas of, okay, you can draw there, okay? What basically you draw there, okay? I'm actually drawing. If you want to ask, if you want to answer back again the question directly, I'm actually trying to apply the element of design in these drawings there. That's how actually artists basically have their own language. Right? This is basically a language that we actually, a designer, artist, will speak out from the visuals there. We applying the element of design back again, okay? Line, shapes, textures, color, form, volume, tone, space there, okay? What you guys have learned in Introduction to Art, basically that's the language of design that we actually try to implement them back in our illustration, in our drawings there, okay? So don't talk to the like a normal people that I learn to draw only, okay? Draw there, okay? What is that, right? So that's basically for the layman kind of words there, okay? As a students, you actually right now in the higher education, okay? Even though I love to talk trash sometime there, okay, just to have fun with it, but when it comes to education, okay, try basically to adapt this kind of language there at the same time. You will basically will get used to it later on, okay? So we actually we're talking about the element of design, we're talking about the language of design around here, right? The language of design there, right? Okay, all those elements that we learn right now. So learn, explain, speaks like that, right? Okay, when your sibling, when your parent asks you also the same thing, and what you guys learn in multimedia, you learn about all the computer, okay? Because my people around me basically, they always thought, okay, when we actually be involved in multimedia, we know how to repair computers there, okay? We're not actually, I'm not actually techie kind of people there, okay? So those are the things, okay, that the wrong conception or perceptions, okay, people with the multimedia students there, all right? So right now, of course, okay, you don't have to go to multimedia courses, you can actually repair computer, right? So it's not basically quite very, but in the near futures, normally, okay, we never know, okay? I would say that multimedia become a bit more common to other people there, right? Everyone can actually do this kind of multimedia things there. So what makes your things are going to be unique from other people's directly? The understanding of the language itself there, right? How you can interpret those language more effective way and develop your creativity at the same times. Making money is one of the things there, right? Okay. So making money also is a part of the important things also, okay, what you learn, you have to make money out of it there, okay? But you have to be creative to develop that kind of understanding, and you have to expose also with different kind of application at the same time. Yes, good morning, Hansing, right? You just came back from hospital, is it? So this exercise just want to give the some of the newbies basically how to control the pressures by having the reference okay, with you when you want to work with this kind of tablets directly. At the same time, it will help you to improve your drawing skills, basically, right? Because if you draw something okay, using those tablets without any reference, they're going to be pointless also at the same time. And when I first start working with this kind of tablets, right? Uh, if I don't have any reference, right, I kind of feel like a bit kind of pointless there, right? I don't know what to do with it, right? Because our imagination sometimes with the kind of restrictions because we don't know how to handle the movements. Okay, we don't get used with the tools basically, right, in the right way first, right, before going to work with it. It's quite difficult a bit for the new people who actually learn to develop this kind of understanding using the new device. They need more extra time to work on that. And the other thing that I always do, okay, I rarely actually change my opacity, okay, or on my brushes there, right? But you can experiment them if you want to there, right? To make it a bit more soft, kind of what we call that transparent kind of looks on your tone. If you actually look closer to the eyes of the bobcat there, right? Okay, can you see the tone of its eye there, right? I can see there, right? Okay. Even though I have an old kind of visions there, I can see those kind of tone there, right? Okay, on those eyes there. Okay, the highlights, the half tone, right? Okay, the reflections kind of light from there, right? Okay. So look carefully there, okay, from your reference there. And sometimes you have to use also your kind of general kind of understanding and knowledge there, okay. When you look at the reference, okay, one of the best way, normally I'm going to study a few number kind of reference that related to those subject matters in order to give me more kind of more detailed kind of understanding there, right? Okay. When you draw those kind of reference there, don't just rely on only one reference, because you know that subject matters is related to some kind of animal that you want to study there, right? So gather a few number kind of informations, right, to give you more kind of analytical kind of understanding there, right? Okay. But each individual need to develop their own kind of understanding on working with the tools. Okay, 10:45 over here. All right. Thank you, Nurul. Direct. Right, thank you very much to our friend over here, right, to sharing basically, okay, her demonstrations over there, okay. right, take a look there, guys. Okay. So everyone have their own kind of way of working, okay? And of course, okay, Adrena basically have a bit kind of what we call that expressive kind of strokes, okay? Which is good for her, but if she can control a bit more further on her speed at the same time and look further carefully on the subject matters itself, okay, they will be more efficient and more kind of what we call that improve on her kind of understanding in the futures there, right? Okay, those are the things there. Because drawing basically, what we call that, a realistic kind of drawings basically need more kind of extra attentions, okay? Whether you're going to work with digital or manual, traditional, there, right? Okay. Even though you're going to draw on top of the layer as a reference, okay, they need extra kind of patience, focus, concentration, okay, and also understanding at the same time all the kind of techniques there. If you take a look at how actually I draw those eyes for the cats, okay, I can see basically those kind of tone, highlight at the same time, even though I improvise a little bit the shapes over here, okay. If we take a look right now, okay, okay, guide, okay, I put a guide name over there. Okay, there's a line over here that I can see. If I want to a bit more closest there, right? When you look into those kind of subject matters over here, the cat's eye there, right? Okay. Yeah. Using the contour line. All right, guys, this is what contour line is all about there, right? When we actually study the structures of the subject matters here there, right? Okay, the contour line will help you to develop the separation between all those kind of form of details, okay, from your reference. See, the contour line studies there, right? That's why we learn those blind drawing, just line drawing in the first stage there, right? Okay. So same goes to this one there, okay. When you start to study basically the shape there, okay. When I draw the line over here there, okay, it basically defines the form of those shapes of those fur line and shadows at the same time here. See? Yeah. Right. So study back again, okay? When you look at something, okay, transfer all those informations, right, becoming those line works, okay, the language of design. That's how actually we look at things there, guys, okay? The flows of it, okay, the flows of it there, right? Even though we're not actually going to draw the whole thing, okay, using this kind of contour line, because they're going to be look a bit more like a messy kind of map kind of line there, right? But this is basically how actually we can study them there, okay? The whole structures back again. Okay? To study the whole structures there using that kind of contour line that came before. We are going to redraw back again using the drawing strokes there, right? Okay? So when I start to draw them back right here, okay? I'll reduce the opacity there. What basically I've been working out right now, okay, using the Ultimate Pencil Art brushes. Okay, make sure you change the colors there, right? The size, okay, around 8%, sometimes 10% there, right? Okay, or 9. Okay, this is how actually I start with it. You can start with this one, okay? You guys can also start also with this kind of line works there. See the way that I move my hands over here? I repeat myself there, I can repeat those kind of line there, right? To make sure I get the right kind of constructions line over here. See? Just now, okay, some people, they love to draw like this one, right? Okay, you won't get a lot of what we call that control. You won't be able to control basically your movements if you don't have enough kind of skills there, okay, to develop that kind of strokes there. But that's why to develop that kind of strokes basically is not that quite very efficient for the beginners there, especially for those who cannot draw well. Okay, you must be able to analyze your level of skills over here. So that's why when I draw there, okay, when I do those demonstrations, I will try to draw slowly over here, okay, to make sure that you guys can see how actually I move my hands there, right? Even though you cannot see my hands over here there, okay, but if you take a look closely, like, hopefully I can actually set back again my cameras, okay, right here. Okay, wait up. Hopefully I can get it right here because I actually have cleaned up some of my cookies directly on those computers there. So I can't basically go through with those. I don't know why I cannot go through with it directly with those kind of what we call that. The second kind of account that can make me that basically go through with those kind of Google Classroom over here. Let me check that first, guys. What happened to my emails over here? Okay. There we get it. Is I can go through or not there? If I can go through, good directly. Cannot directly. Join. No, the meeting being recorded. Yes, join. Okay, if you can actually look at my hands while you guys can see the screen, right? Okay, check that right now. Yeah. You guys can see that, right? All right, now, okay, check a look here, right? And I've moved my hands over here. See? Right? There. Oops. All right, see that, huh? You guys can draw the lines at the strokes line over here, okay? Can I see you repeat the line there? Right. And I mixed up, okay, when I rendering, okay, I mixed up my kind of hands, okay, drawings, okay, using that kind of contour kind of movements there, but you cannot see the contour line because most of those are shapes or strokes that I actually draw there, right, will basically have a very close kind of what we call that motions that I use from here. That's why those contour line exercise basically is a foundation step of exercise there, right? To develop your understanding while you draw them there. Okay. Okay. Right. Whenever that you guys move your hands right now, learn to control, all right, okay? Those kind of what we call that. I always forgot about the name. Okay, the half tone basically. Okay, the half tone kind of what we call that rendering kind of techniques there, which is you working with it kind of strokes softly there, okay, and by controlling also your kind of movement at the same time. Try to get the feel out of it there, and at the same time develop the right kind of confidence of the movements there. If I want to add some shadows, half tone kind of shadows over here, right? I'm not actually render like this one, right? Okay, or I'm not actually render like this one. Okay, use the flows of those hairline that you saw from the shadows there, okay, on from those pictures there, right, to move your shadings, okay, to develop that kind of shadings line there, right? Okay. Yeah. That's how it goes, okay. But just now when Adrina basically, right, okay, I add some shadings over here. They kind of a bit kind of very strong kind of hard kind of strokes a little bit, okay. So they will make basically your drawings a bit more like there is like a concave kind of shape there, right? So a bit kind of like there is a terrain or maybe some sort of like a pile of what we call that hole there, okay, from these positions over here, okay. So it's quite hard there, okay. The stroke itself there, okay. You have to be a bit more kind of soft first before you're going to render a bit more further on the shadings there, okay. So maybe later on when you actually have your own times, you have your own basically your own kind of moments there, okay, then you will have more kind of what we call that more passionate, okay, passions to give more you also, okay, more kind of what we call that lose kind of time a little bit to develop it kind of what we call the strokes there, okay. Maybe you'll be kind of rushing just now there, okay. A more huge kind of areas, you change the size, but try to render softly, right? Okay? Sometimes I move around those shadings like this one, right? Okay, but zoom out a little bit to see whether you actually working right or not, okay? And then zoom in back again, right? Okay, one more thing, okay? I love to make my drawings look, my illustrations look a bit more like a drawing instead of realistic photography. Right? I love to have that kind of the foundations of drawings, okay, in my creations there, because if I can draw the whole thing look like photo, okay, what's the point basically, okay? What the thing that I want to draw there, okay? Just like the cut and paste only there, okay? Even though some people love to have that kind of what we call that quality of work there, okay? But for me, I love to see my drawings with kind of like have that kind of aesthetical kind of value, like hand drawings there, okay, rather than just like artificial kind of what we call that artificial kind of looks there, okay. That's basically one of the reasons I always love to develop and explore basically the drawing strokes there. So if you have that kind of what we call that understanding over here, to work basically with your kind of line, right? Okay. Progressively, without pressing too much, you can actually render actually a little bit more details, okay? As you actually go through with all this kind of what we call the detailings later on, all right? So if I want to render the eyes here over here, okay, you know basically the small pupil of those eyes of the cats are going to be look a bit more like this, right? Logically, so I improvise from what I saw, okay, from our reference there, but I'm leaving the highlights over here, same directions already. That's what some of the license that we have as a designers, okay, develop that kind of creativities on our presentations. Things that people don't see with their naked eyes, we can actually apply from our knowledge, okay, and understanding logically. Don't forget to save your files when you do those work there, right, all the times. Okay. I have to move this reference right here. Okay. Slowly develop that kind of understanding more and more that I want to work with it. Just now, basically, when you draw, basically the subject matter is right. Okay, this kind of fur line there, you press too much there, okay, on the stroke there, okay. If I want to draw, basically, I want to draw basically these basic structures over here. Can you see how actually I move my hands there, right? Control carefully the shapes there. Try to make it a very loose, light kind of line there first before you to add more details there. And study basically the whole structure there by adjust basically the kind of what we call the line works, okay, by giving basically a more natural kind of flows on the movements, okay, from your tablets over here. See, some areas like hairline, you can actually draw this kind of strokes there, right, a bit more faster there, okay, but still in control here. Okay, one of the reason, okay, I always told you guys, okay, not to render too much directly on the shadings there. Why? Because let's say you actually rendered some of the areas like this too much directly on the shadings there. Okay, and then you cannot actually erase them back. Okay, how actually you're going to work with it? Okay, this is one of the tricks that I use based from the traditional methods there, right? So I'm going to use my erasers here. But I'm not going to be erase my drawings, but I'm going to add some of the highlight there. See that? Highlight there, right? They're going to be more efficient if you actually have those in this kind of line over here, right? See? Some highlight there, right? Just like using charcoals, okay? When you draw using charcoals, okay? We can actually draw by using those erasers there. We not actually erase our drawings, but we can add some highlights on it. You guys can see from here, there, right? How actually it works. Yeah. So normally, when you're using erasers, not basically to erase our drawings there, okay? For example, like this one, okay, brushes. Let's just say I actually have done a lot of what we call that shadings, okay, too much over here, all right? For example, right here, right? So one of the way basically I'm going to what we call that study back again my reference by put my kind of what we call a reference basically side by side like this, right? And then what I can do from here, I'm gonna start to paint the right here, or render the right. So what I can do right here, there, guys, I'm using erasers. So what I do right now, I'm going to draw basically the fur line back again. See? Yeah. So that's how actually we do it, right? Okay. That's why we not actually erase back again our drawings there, but we applying basically those kind of line works there again. Using basically this kind of methods here. And then a little bit right here. Okay. There. So what I can do next, basically, there, right? Using erasers, then I can actually slowly actually draw those kind of what we call that, those kind of fur line basically back again there. So this is one of the way basically you guys can work on that. See, we adapt basically those method of using those charcoals, okay, with these kind of methods of drawings here, by using only one single brush is difference. Okay. Slowly render them up, right? Okay? Don't make too much there. Then you can control more further on your toe. Okay. Any questions, guys? The method is technique basically, okay, is all those 4 drawings techniques that I actually apply were basically in this exercise over here. Okay, mistakes over there just now. Just undo the okay, a few the okay, those steps. And I can actually render back again. Slowly render them. Change the size there, okay, frequently based on the space that you want to render there, right? Okay. And you apply a bit more further and further there, right? Okay? On those kind of tones. So don't rely too much on the transparent kind of looks, okay, on the surface directly, from your bottom of your drawings directly on your reference. Okay, make it into side by side directly for some of the times when you want to study a bit more further on those detailing there. Right? I try not to basically change my opacities at the moment. because I want to just make a full use basically on my brush tools and flows there, okay? I don't even actually change the flow also there, guys, okay, at the moment there. Because I just want to test basically my abilities here to develop that kind of understanding by using this, the default, okay, the standard default kind of brush tools here, right, okay, and setting. All right. So if you guys have complete or maybe in the progress of developing this kind of drawings directly, you guys can send it over to our group WhatsApp there. Maybe my drawings, okay, also a bit kind of, in terms of shadings, a bit more rough there, okay? But we can try to add as much as details, okay, in time here. Just slowly there, okay? Look carefully there to work on that. One of the good thing about this exercise, right, okay, because you had that kind of purpose there, okay, of using the tool that you can see basically the potentials of using the tablet there, okay. Without those tablets, you won't be able to see the potentials of this exercise over here. So slowly render, right, okay, some of the areas over here, right, using this kind of what we call that, like scribbling, right, okay, kind of what we call that rendering there, right? And add more volume, tone, and depth, okay, on your shadings, okay, but not too much there, right? Look carefully, right, okay, to your reference. That's basically the point is right now. Okay. It's been a while, basically. I draw everything, okay, in more details there, okay, because the time that I have basically, right, okay, is not basically, okay, allow me anymore, or maybe I love to simplify some of the things that I actually will draw there, okay. But for the beginners like you guys, I always encourage you guys to develop this kind of exercise there, okay, because it will help to engage your kind of analytical kind of understanding and detailing there, okay, with this exercise over here, before you're going to work with the more simplified, stylized kind of design later on in the futures there. Okay. If you look at, okay, even though I make a few number kind of mistakes, okay, but with this kind of exercise, okay, I didn't worry too much, okay, to make all those kind of mistakes there. We always allow those mistakes, and we try to embrace basically our methods back again, our flows, okay, our movements there, okay, according to those drawings that we should do there, okay. Right, guys? Brand it slowly there, okay. Focus on your subject matters. Don't try to assume the subject matters that, oh, the subject matter are going to be look like this, okay, the shadow going to be look like this, right? You assume using your head there, okay, but not focusing on your drawings there, okay. That's a lot of people, those are the things that people always do there, right? People always assume the subject matters there. They not really look at your reference there, okay, while you draw. Even though you have that kind of reference in front of you, right? You guys can see, okay, why actually you make those kind of mistakes there, because your mindset look at the reference as the photos, not the element of design there, okay? You know, actually coordinate those techniques all together while you develop this kind of drawings, okay, when you draw them, right, you always find difficulties in your mind there, but not focusing on the subject matters itself, right? That's basically why you make all those kind of common kind of mistakes all the time there. So the way that I move my hands right here, right, okay, according to the fur and the strokes, I'm using different kind of directions there at the same times. Okay. Slowly render the right, okay. No one actually going to say, okay, you have to complete the whole things, okay, right away. But don't spend too much time to draw one subject matters more than 2-3 days, okay? Spend an hours and hours, okay, in one day, so it's okay to develop that kind of understandings. Let yourself dive into that kind of moments, okay, to understand about the tool, the techniques, the tricks, the right, okay? But like me, okay, I spend few different kind of demonstrations there. That's why I stopped working with this kind of drawings for some of the sessions, and then I continue back again there, right? But for you guys who are actually using as a part of your exercise assignment there, okay, don't spend too much time to draw one drawings 1 or 2 days there, because you're going to lose a lot of your momentum from there, okay? Unless you are super patient there, right? Right. So I think right, any questions? Any questions, guys? How about the rest of you guys here? Do you have any questions regarding to our exercise here, right? Because the drawings that we're going to work there, guys, okay, it's all based on the same kind of movements and techniques there, guys, okay? Controlling the strokes all the time, okay? We need to control the strokes all the time, okay? Learn to get the connection between your hands and also your eyes together, right? Okay, the coordinations there. Okay, that's what we do, right? So do we need to record for this exercise? Yes. Just record only 20-30 seconds, right? Okay, not more than 1 minute there, okay? So I want to see how actually you do those kind of works, like Adena just now actually have we basically have shared the screen, okay? You guys can do the same thing there, okay? You guys can use this OBS. Okay, it's a free kind of apps. I'm using this one basically, okay, to record my offline sessions there. But the mic, even though I'm using this kind of condenser mic, okay, but the mic doesn't fit well. I have to tweak a little bit, maybe later on there, right? But it's going to be efficient, okay? If you use this, what we call that, is OBS systems, okay, applications to record your offline sessions, but not too long there, okay, guys. Okay, not too long there. All right. Any question, Wenshin? You want to share your screen? Right, you want to share your screen there, Wenshin? So hopefully now basically you start to understand, right? To develop those understanding there, right? Why we use erasers there? Not to erase our drawings, but to apply basically the highlights, okay, for our drawings there. Okay, to apply the highlights for our drawings there, right? Before you're going to learn about those imaginations kind of stuff there, right? This is basically one of the way basically you guys can use erasers, okay, to enhance on the highlights of your drawings, not to erase our mistakes there. So don't use erasers all the times to erase your mistake there, okay? Avoid those mistakes by controlling your hands when you draw. Okay, for example, later on, right, okay, when we are going to draw something like For example here, okay, you want to do the basic structures there, right? For some people actually cannot control their hands really well. I have one or two students yesterday, basically she cannot drawing well there, okay? So practice your hands here to draw like this. Look into my drawings here, my hands there, right? Okay. Not this one there, right? See the way I move my hands, okay? If I want to draw one circle there, okay? I try to repeat myself until I get it right. And at the same time, I try to control basically the pressures line there, right? See? To show the depth of fields here. This is also one of the exercise you can do there, okay? To work on that. Don't draw circle like this one there, right? Okay? Don't draw like that, right? Okay? Because it's not basically the proper way to work there. Draw one circle there, okay? Draw circles there, right? Repeat the line, okay, until you get it right. When you draw small there, okay? See, from the invisible line to the visible line there, okay? You get the strokes right there first. Even though you want to draw a straight line there, right? Repeat the line over here. Okay, repeat the line there, right? It's okay there, okay, to get this kind of strokes there, right? But we practice basically our hands back again. Don't draw like this one there, right? Look like a pro, but everything's wrong already. Normally when you draw. Okay? Draw a straight line like this. Right? Practice your hands there, okay? Just repeat the line there, right? Okay? Because when you draw something like this sometimes, okay, basic structures of human face there, or cats there, right? If you want to study the cat structures there, right? For example here. This is how we start to draw there, right? Okay? For those who actually can draw, basically have that kind of understanding here, there, okay? They start basically get this kind of ideas there from. They draw the shapes, is it? Shapes out of it there, right? But learn to control basically those structures there. No matter how good or bad your drawing is right now, okay, the methods, the techniques are going to be the one of the most important things there first. But this is basically only a guide for us, okay? And then when you start to get it right, then you actually can draw back again carefully. This is only a guideline, guys. We're not actually following back again sometimes. Yeah, see the way I move my hands there, right? So that's how people start to draw here. So we don't actually draw them back the line like this one, okay? Sometimes you actually draw those fur line. Eyes. Okay, the way they move, we move our hands over here. All right, that kind of things, that kind of techniques we're going to apply back again later on next week. All right, but without learning to control the line really well, you will have that kind of difficulties later on. Okay, to develop this kind of strokes and drawings there. All right, okay? A lot of people have that kind of difficulty there. Okay, that's why when I asked them to draw a character design later on, right, Okay, they will start to draw like this again. Okay, I really hate to see people draw like this one, right? Especially when they have learned the right methods to draw. Draw the shapes lah. Okay. Okay, you want to draw chibi character, for example, there, right? Okay. This kind of line that we want to produce. Okay, this is one of the line that we want to produce there. Need to sketch our line there, right? Okay. So whatever that you have in mind what came from this kind of foundation of understanding here. Okay. So if you have that kind of good understanding on your drawing strokes, you guys can draw whatever that you want in your mind, okay, but it's based from those basic structures that you want to draw here. Okay, I draw chibi characters, but it doesn't have to be what we call that. The cute characters like a human being or whatever that you have in mind here, right? Okay, your imaginations that, right, okay, that you have in mind here. So what I can do from here, let's just say that. Okay, what I have in mind. Okay. Yeah. See? Okay. What I actually have that kind of visions there, okay? I want students, my student can sketch like this, right? Not to draw the characters only, right? Okay? But the level of sketch that you can produce, okay? For your videographies there, okay, later on, you have that kind of level of confidence to sketch like this there, okay? That's basically my kind of visions, my kind of ideas of why actually we need to practice our hands to draw in the right way, okay, right now there, okay? Because we don't want to turn up those drawings become like a wannabe kind of manga kind of styles there, like a poser kind of stuff there, okay? You try to become someone, but you cannot do it there, right? Okay, so you have to develop something that you have those kind of understanding right here, not just want to pretend to be someone that you cannot be there, right? Okay, so that's why you have to be develop a kind of flexibilities at this stage, at this time, basically there, right? Okay, in order to develop that kind of body of works here. Okay, it's not because of I want to become manga. I love manga very much, but you don't understand. You don't develop those kind of understanding there. Which route or what kind of route process that you have to go through first before you to become that kind of, you want to draw something that you like right there, right? Because all the foundation will came from all this process that we do, but basically there's more thing from here, but you not basically have been trained to develop the core kind of illustration program right here, okay? But I will try to give you guys as much as I can, okay? To open up your mind, okay? To develop that kind of foundation there first, okay? Because you have to understand one thing, okay? Not all people who can draw anime, manga kind of style, they can draw a perfect drawings, right? Or sometimes they can draw portrait there. But if you can develop those kind of sensitivity, okay, and skills from traditional portrait drawings, perfect figure drawings, for example, okay, and then easily when you start to control the line really well, okay, you know how to develop the kind of control the line, okay, you can draw anything that you want. Yes, you can draw anything that you want. The boundaries between you and your skills is only your knowledge there. Only our knowledge. I also have my own limitation there, right? So I have to do a bit kind of reference study first before I'm going to draw something there, okay? But it doesn't actually, right, what we call that, keep me basically from not doing the thing that I want there, right, in the correct way. Okay, of course, everyone have that kind of difficulties, that kind of weakness, okay, but you know basically where the direction that you want to go. And you can actually achieve them slowly or faster, quickly, okay, based on your knowledge, right? So we want to develop that kind of knowledge there first. You saw actually how I actually sketched these two ideas there in a very short times. All right. So that's the same thing that you're supposed to develop right here. Okay. If I want to draw something else also based on the chibi style, for example, because I love to design this kind of chibi because it's easy for me, for everyone to develop and relate it, okay? But it's not that easy if you don't have enough kind of understanding about the basic structures and shapes. Okay, the shape itself, okay? I'm working with the shapes a lot right here. Right. So roughly there, okay? Before we get to start to develop a bit more further right here, there, right? So the eyes, the ears, and then, okay, the hairline, see, the way I control my hands there, okay? Draw those hairlines here, right? I start to imagine basically those hair strokes. Everything came from those structures, okay, basic structures there, guys. And controlling the hand at the same times. See? Okay, to be frankly there, okay, I'll take also quite number kind of time there to study basically the styles there, okay. I'm not saying that I can get it straight away, okay, from out of nowhere, okay. I study a few number kind of what we call that characters there, okay, samples, okay, from the internet, from other artists there, okay, to work with those craft there, right? It's not that easy there, guys, okay. But if you had that kind of strong foundation that I told you guys just now, they will give you more advantage there. Okay? They will give you more advantage there, okay, to work, okay, on your own there. Even though I love anime, manga, okay, but it takes me a lot of courage basically to design and to draw back again, because I have that kind of ideas when I actually have exposed with a lot of different kind of styles, okay, back in the day. I don't want to draw something like more popular kind of things. I want to draw something more unique way because I want to stand out from from those crowd there, okay, from the herd there, okay. But when basically the generations changes there, okay, and I have been exposed back again with the student who actually need that kind of understanding there. I start to develop back again my kind of directions of studying those characters, and I know basically, even though my kids, the new generations, like you guys also will love this kind of style there. So I don't want to have what we call the left behind basically the okay, in order to make those kind of what we call that route, okay, to develop that kind of route, and also working also with the new generations. So I train back again myself there to draw all this kind of stuff there, right? So still working on it, right? Okay, still develop also at the same time, okay, because there's a lot of challenges in every single style that you want to develop there, okay. But for me, as I actually have told you guys before, styles are going to be developed later on when you start to develop a strong foundations. Okay. Our main objective right now, each one of you guys suppose can sketch like this, not design the styles there, sketch there, okay. Have that kind of level of confidence that we want to develop from here. I know that some of you guys have that, okay, but when we change basically the methods and techniques, suddenly you become a bit more like tone down a little bit your kind of skills there. Don't have that, right? Okay, because you have to build up from there. Because the foundation that you have built before this, okay, some of you guys have that kind of skills there, okay. They have to make sure that you can improve more from there. I'm also do the same things, all right? As I told you guys before, when I start learning formally the formal education about animal design, okay, before I enter to graphic design, I'm also saying like you guys, I just can draw, but I don't know what's wrong with my drawings there. But I know basically the proportion is not right. I always use a roller eraser to erase my drawings there. But when I actually start to develop that kind of understanding formally, erasers is not basically my issues anymore. Okay, I start to change slowly, but repeatedly do those exercises there. So let yourself experiment, explore your kind of methods of working from now on. Don't be afraid, right? And enjoy yourself. I enjoy animation. I enjoy comics. I enjoy all this kind of great stuff there, right? Okay, back in the days. So that's what brings me to develop myself from there, right? Not stopping me there, okay, but push me more further to enjoy myself, okay? Other than I serve myself into those assignments only, like I don't serve myself for doing only assignments, okay, in my entire life, okay? I mix them up all together there to make our life more purposely, like have the purpose of developing our own directions there, right? Okay. Any questions? What is it when Shin? Okay, yes, you mean you have the questions there? No? Right, any questions there, guys? All right. So hopefully I can see your kind of submissions right here. All right. In our WhatsApp group there first. All right, after this, don't delay your exercise and assignment at the same times. My PS is lagging, okay? If lagging there, okay, why don't you actually use 150 dpi instead of 300? Maybe, all right? Or one of the best way there, okay, if you use the new version like 2021 there, okay, I recommend you guys to get a lower version a bit, right, 2018 or 17 there, right, okay? Because sometimes new version have a lot of technical kind of issues there, okay, sometimes there, okay, not all the time, but sometimes there, okay. So make sure you guys were basically change the software there first. Sometimes it's not actually applicable for the system at the moment there. But all this kind of technical stuff, right, okay, I just assume them only there, okay, because based on my experience there, guys. That's why I didn't actually rarely change the version of my application there, okay. one of the things that I do, I use, okay, I kind of use a lot of my professional works back in the day using only Photoshop 7 there, okay, at the times. No CS kind of versions there. I changed to CS for a few years only there, okay, around 3-4 years only there, okay. And then last year, basically, I installed this 2017 kind of Photoshop there, okay, which is one of the students that have given to me there, right? Because I want to have different kind of brushes to explore with the students self there, right? Okay. So don't feel too amazed to change the applications frequently, but use the default setting that you have, just like what I did, right? Okay, to develop our skills there at the times. All right. All right. If you don't have any questions, okay, the setting directly back again. If your Photoshop is lagging directly, what you can do from here, when you open up new files, change from resolution 300 directly. Normal standard is 300 directly. But for my exercise, you can use 150 dpi minimum. The size are going to be A4 size direct, 8 by 11 inch, okay, or 11 inch by 8 kind of size there, right? Okay. Format, orientation like portrait or landscape, depending on the reference there. Okay, and the color mode are going to be RGB there, right? This is basically the format there. Okay, guys. Zishin there, okay, can you share your screen so we can see what basically the problem of your Photoshop is? Can you share your screen? You want to share your screen there? Or it's okay after you restart, okay? Yeah. So good, right? You can hear that, right? All the systems sometimes, okay, feel weird a little bit there. So guys, to give you any questions, thank you very much for having the time with me right now, okay? And also for entering those sessions there. Don't delay your assignments at your exercise at the same time, okay? And good luck with your exercise. Practice a lot there from now on, all right? And I'll see you guys next week on our next sessions. Until today, okay? And good luck there, okay? And have a good weekend at the same times. And be safe. Bye. All right.